the other side?
It's fun. Fun. Developed a lot over there. They gave me something special during that year, so it's going to be fun to compete against them for sure.
They play a pretty unique style of offense, particularly. Will your familiarity help, you think, on that end?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. You're going to know all the sets they run. They know all the sets we run. It's going to come down to little things. It's going to come down to who wants it more. And at this stage in the year, it's all the little things. It's all the rebounds. It's all the loose balls. Because we know what they're going to run. We know what they want to get to. And they're here for a reason, so you have to respect that. And, you have to come out ready to go.
How badly does this group want it when you talk about who wants it more?
I mean, we want it. You can see the way we're carrying ourselves every single day. This year has been a lot of ups and downs, and we've come together at the right time. I think right now we're the most together that we have been all year, and it's the best time to be clicking.
You guys had your ups and downs in late game situations through the regular season, but in the first round, you win 3 games, all of them close. You dominated the fourth in all the games. Did you see some lessons learned from the regular season that you applied?
Absolutely. I mean, all year long, you could see the last 3-4 minutes of each game. The execution on defense, but also the execution the execution on offense, but also the execution on defense. The communication has picked up tremendously now, and like I said, I think we're connected, not just off the court, but on the court. Everybody knows where people are supposed to be, and we're holding each other accountable, and I think this is the best time to be able to do that.
You've talked before, go ahead.
With their just the way they move offensively, like what kind of stress does that put on a defense, and how focused and disciplined do you have to be to combat that?
Yeah, I think that you just said it. You have to be disciplined. You have to understand that they're going to get stuff that they want, but collectively, I think we have a deep roster that can throw bodies at a bunch of different guys they have. You have to weather their storm and their runs throughout the game, because they can hit you in a ton of different ways and make big runs, but you just have to weather the storm and stick with it, and like you said, stay disciplined and try to pull it out at the end.
You've talked before of how much that year helped you, revived, I think is the word you used. How much specifically did you learn from Steph and talk about the craft of shooting with him?
I mean, I've talked about it a lot. Not just the craft of shooting, but his mindset, his approach every single day. And that's something that, I took that more so than any of the little tips and everything, shooting-wise, because what he does shooting-wise, you can't emulate. So just taking the mindset, taking his approach, and applying it to my skill set, working on my skill set. So it'll be fun to compete against him for sure.
When you say mindset and approach, what do you mean? How would you describe that?
This is day-to-day. There's no secrets that he has, but his focus level and his attention to detail about his body, what he puts in his body, his routine, just everything, his timing, his during that year, like I said, I learned a lot off the court from him, and it applied on the court for sure.
Someone who guards like all types, how different is it to defend Steph? Do you think is it especially different in a playoff setting?
Yeah, I mean, it's different because the focus is it's going through him no matter what, and everything action's going to go through him. But the way he moves, the way he's able to get open, he still has the ability to get the shot off and make plays for others, and he's very unselfish. So we know what we want to try to take away. We know what we want to try to limit, and if we just stick to the game plan, I think we'll be just fine.
Is that level of focus and concentration something you can convey with words, or you just have to be in it?
No, you just have to be in it. You can say focus 1,000 times here. You won't understand it until you're in that film session, you're in the game, and really feeling that the smallest little mistake can have a dagger 3, and you're losing the game. So I think all of us have the understanding of every single possession, the start of the game to the last possession of the game. We have to be dialed in, not just on him, but everybody, because you have a lot of guys over there that we respect, and we know that those guys are what I think won the series in Houston for them.
If you're watching, they're waiting for a series to play out. How do you watch it? Is it fun to watch it as a basketball fan? Are you watching this a strategical mind?
When we watch it together, I think it's more of fun. You enjoy being around each other, just see who wins, see the other teams kind of get into it, beat up on each other. And then when you're watching it by yourself, it's more of okay, this is the person I'm going to guard. This is the action they're running to. What team on offense, what am I going to be able to get to? So you kind of think about it like that. and then you come in the film and the coaches have a whole different viewpoint on it. So all that goes out the window, and you just listen to what they got.
Have you seen a change in Julius since the start of the playoffs?
Julius been amazing. All NBA guy. He's a huge reason why we won that series. And the beautiful thing about him, he doesn't need the praise. He hears everything. He hears the criticism, but he doesn't need it. He knows that in the locker room we trust him, decision making, and he's playing some beautiful basketball.
How would you sort of briefly reflect on your journey since your time with the Warriors and how you've obviously come here and part of a very good team. How is
It's
that?
been fun. Like I said, it's been a lot of ups and downs this year, individually and collectively. And I think, going into the playoffs, everybody has felt good individually, and everybody has felt good as a unit. And I think, that's the only thing you can ask for. Everything throughout the regular season, records, minutes, roles, all that goes out the window, and we're trying to win games. And when you look back on the year, you see how far we've come, and you see how far we have to go to be able to, do what we want to do.
Donte, what's this week like for you, just from a prep standpoint, having played with these guys, knowing the personnel? Does the coaching staff come to you, talk to you about tendencies, things like that?
For sure, definitely tendencies, definitely questions about sets and stuff. But I think overall we have, it doesn't matter what set we know they're going to run. Everybody knows what sets they're going to run. Everybody knows what sets we're going to run. It's about how to, limit certain things and, schemes that we want to limit. And then also the little things, just knowing how they won games in Houston. The offensive rebounds, like I said, the transition, like there was no secret in the Lakers series, like transition was the key to that series. So we have certain keys to this series, and, got to come out tonight and execute that.
Along those same lines, your experience playing with the Warriors and knowing kind of the mind games and the tricks that Draymond can get into, can you be someone like kind of vigilant for that in this series and try to intervene or whatever in any way, like prepare your team to deal with the Draymond factor?
Everybody knows that is just an ultra competitor, and we have them too. So it's nothing that we're saying he's going to do coming in the game. We want him to compete. We want to compete, and we want to get after it. So there's no intervening. There's nothing. These guys know exactly what is at stake and what we're getting into, and everybody's ready.
You obviously knew you'd be back here, like a key player in the NBA, but there was a time where it felt like the league might have not known that. How does it feel to be here, to know you?
It feels great. It feels great. Went through a little bit of a dark time during that, leaving Sacramento, getting that qualifying offer pulled and not knowing where I stood. And that's why I say I give credit to Golden State for reviving, I want to say revive my career, but yeah, like mentally being able to get back to where I know I am and, what type of player and person I am. And that's what's really helped me. And then, I have a long way to go on and off the court. But to know that I'm back where I feel like I belong and still have a lot of room to grow, that's the confidence that I get.
You said you took more from Steph's mindset.
Yeah.
But what did you take from the craft when you guys talked about shooting? Without getting too deep into the mechanics, just what did you learn about shooting in your conversations with him?
Honestly, we didn't talk about shooting a lot. We talked about life. We talked about, like I said, like routine, mindset. Like we talked about his family, his all that stuff. And when you have somebody of that stature talking to you just like a normal person, it helps you. You're not so focused on, okay, where's your right finger at when you shoot. It clears your mind and allows you that he's not thinking about that stuff as well. He's a normal person, and he goes about his routine just in a very meticulous way.
Have you kept in touch with him much?
Yeah. Congratulations on the kids and stuff like that, and watching from afar, and just every time we compete against each other, it's really fun.
You talked about Mike kind of. You talked about Mike kind of throughout the season and his leadership role, how much he's meant to you. Just is there a little bit extra motivation going into the playoffs, knowing that he's kind of at the end of his
For sure.
basketball run?
Absolutely. That's kind of like, not just myself, but collectively. It's, you don't know how much time Mike has left with his basketball career. So, like, you want to take, grab every opportunity you can and take advantage of it because, we all want to win for him. And I think that's a collective thought process, and it brings a little bit more edge to our game, brings a little bit more meaning to our game.
Donte, one of the things you brought to this team is toughness. Like, how do you go about infusing that into the character of the group, just with your approach?
I think just leading by example. you know, a lot of these guys on the team they have a lot inside them that, you know, some people don't get the opportunity to show, or some people are a little bit, you know, timid to show it. And when you see somebody that you're close with on and off the court, and you know, they show it, they're diving on the floor, they're getting into it, they're being physical, it allows them to bring it out of them, and then next thing you know, you have, you know, a team full of dogs.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.